This is an Evergreen Media Network production. And now, it's time to put you on the spot with EGM.
Hello and welcome to On the Spot with EGM. My name is Jesse Kriske, and we're here to talk about the only cause of death that's 100% preventable, and that's suicide. And joining us today to talk about this very heavy subject is our friend Wes Samons from the Mental Health Collaborative. Hey Wes, how are you doing today?
I'm good, Jesse. Thank you for having me.
Well, thanks for being here today. All right, it's a subject that, not a lot of people like to talk about, but we got to talk about it. It's very important.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a topic that there is a stigma with mentioning even the word suicide, right? So it's something that we at the Collaborative are trying to help people to be more comfortable with having these conversations and hopefully decreasing these numbers that we see that are honestly that are really concerning. And I'll throw some of those at you real quick, just so people have an idea of what we're dealing with here as a society, and not only in Florida but in the entire United States and the world with suicide. There's 132 suicides a day in the United States. That is 11 suicides a minute.
Wow.
Yeah, and only 1 out of 25 are actually completed in a death by suicide. So for every 25 attempts, only 1 actually results in a death. So that tells you how many people are thinking about suicide and actually trying to complete that end to their life. Sadly, there was 3,325 deaths by suicide in 2021, and it's a top 10 cause of death in Florida. And it's also a top 2 cause of death for 18 and under. So it's definitely a huge concern. I would call it a crisis, honestly.
Yeah.
And it's something that we really want to try to focus on decreasing in our society, and especially here in Indian River County.
Why do you think these numbers are so high?
Well, there's a lot of risk factors there. I think a lot of times it's social media is a factor. I know that with a lot of the research that I see and a lot of the conversations that I have with professionals in this industry, we're noticing that it's difficult to be a teenager now compared to 20 years ago or when we were teenagers.
Yeah.
And it's just, they are constantly bombarded with criticism and being bullied, and it's something that when before social media, it would happen at school for 8 hours a day, and then you go home and you kind of forget about it. But now they go home and they still see it on their phone, they still see it on their computer, and it's constant. And so that really takes its toll for sure. So that would be one of the major reasons I would say that number has increased for sure. And then also you add in stressors like what we came through with the pandemic, and people still trying to recover from that. And anytime there's a pandemic, you don't really know the long-term mental effects until 3 to 4 years after. So we're starting to see now that the results of that, of people being isolated and it leading to anxiety and depression that ultimately leads to self-harm.
Terrible. And as the father of 2 young children who are just now getting into the age of beginning of teenagerdom, it's scary. It's scary for a parent. What are the signs we can look for as a parent to look out?
Great.
What can we do?
Yeah, that's a great question. Awesome. So warning signs that we want to look for. The first one is talking about death and talking about hurting themselves or threats of hey, I'm so sad I may hurt myself. So taking a comment like that and knowing that it's something you shouldn't take for granted, and really trying to process that with your child, feeling like it's okay to say, hey, are you really going to hurt yourself? Do you really feel like committing suicide? For so long, there's been a stigma around using the term, are you thinking about committing suicide? Are you thinking about death by suicide? The stigma has always been, if I mention that word, then it's going to put that thought in their head. And this is statistics show that's just not true. The more you talk about it, the more you're openly talking about it, shows that it's something that you are prepared to help them with. By avoiding the term and not talking about it, what you're saying to your child or your friend is that your feelings of hurting yourself or death by suicide are so scary, I don't want to talk about it. And that makes them feel even worse. So telling them that you're okay with talking about it and we can have this conversation and let me help you to get help, that in itself helps to decrease the likelihood that they will hurt themselves.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you're saying, if somebody says, I don't want to manifest this, I don't want to speak this and put that out and that negative vibe into the universe, what you're doing is that's not the way to go. You want this out in the open. You want the sunshine that disinfects everything. You want to talk about this openly, and so that will help reduce the risk.
Correct, because what that does is that opens the conversation. That gives that person a chance to feel comfortable, to feel safe, that they can talk to you about their feelings and that they are feeling about hurting them. They feel like they might want to hurt themselves, and that's okay. But let's talk about different ways to cope with that, right? Mm-hmm. So, and you mentioned warning signs. A couple of other ones are obviously, changes in their behavior, and maybe they're sleeping more. Maybe they're not being as active in the things that that they enjoy to do, their hobbies. Starting to feel more withdrawn and kind of maybe spending more time in their room. Prolonged periods of depression. So, everyone has ups and downs, but maybe those downs are lasting a lot longer and you're starting to notice that. Obviously, substance use, if you notice someone is using a substance, they may be self-medicating, of course. And then, with older adults, giving away prized possessions is a thing. So like maybe they're starting to give away things that they care about because they're planning on ending their life. So those are some warning signs. Just, the community being aware of that and paying attention to if those changes happen to loved ones and people they care about can help to prevent something happening.
Okay. And what is the best thing we can do? Is the best thing we can do to talk about it?
It is. Honestly, that is the best thing, is having the conversation, letting them know that you're there for them, and then, seeking out help. And if they need you to be with them to reach out to help, I think that is the best way to go about it. So if you have a friend that is having thoughts of ending their life by suicide, saying, hey, let's call a professional together. I'll make the call for you. We can talk to that person. I can talk for you. We can have the conversation. I'll be here for you to support you. And sometimes that support is enough for them to feel comfortable enough to go ahead and reach out and get that help that they need.
Okay. And I believe we have some numbers that we can talk about of where, who people can turn to if they're in a difficult time such as this.
Absolutely. So, I think everyone knows that 911 is a number you can call if you're in an emergency.
Right.
Similar to that, 988 and 211. So 988 and 211 are numbers that you can call that are specific to mental health issues and concerns, and they have a professional that is available 24 hours a day.
All right.
So you can call that number at any time. And then, as you have on the screen, that's great. The text hotline is 741-741. So, teens and, young adults are more likely to text than call. Mm-hmm. You can text 741-741, and they will respond with help and help you to get the help that you need.
All right, very good. Text 741-741 or call 211 or call 988 for help. All right, Wes Samons, is there anything else we need to talk about for this very important discussion?
No, I think we've kind of covered it there. The main talking points are it's okay to mention the word suicide. Mm-hmm. It's not going to make your friend or family member feel more likely to hurt themselves. It's actually going to open the conversation and make them feel more safe. So that's a huge factor. And know that as an adult, if you have a teenager that you fear that may be capable of hurting themselves, that knowing that their peers are a huge resource, and talking to their peers. So you may have a trusted friend of your son or daughter that you can talk to and say, hey, keep me in the loop. Let me know what's going on with them. and these are the ways that we can support them if you feel like they're going down a road where they may want to hurt themselves.
Very good. All right. Reach out, talk to somebody, talk to a friend, talk to a neighbor, talk to your parents or your kids. And if you need to talk to a professional, talk to a professional. Again, text 741-741. You can call 988 or call 211. There's also the McCabe Connection Center, right, Wes?
Absolutely. So, we're definitely not a crisis center, so I'd rather you call those numbers if there is a crisis.
Right.
But if you feel like you need some long-term support for therapy, for psychiatry, please call us 772-217-3663. I have a great team there. My clinical specialist can take your information and help you to find the supports that you need so that you get a long-term benefit of help and support.
Great. Very good. All right. Wes Samons from the Mental Health Collaborative. Here, we've talked about a very difficult subject, and Wes, you've done it very well, so thank you for your help today.
Thank you, Jesse, for allowing me to have this conversation about a very important topic, and like I said, we're hoping that we can make these numbers trend in a different direction.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Talk about it. That's the best thing you can do.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks a lot, Wes. Thanks for watching and listening to the Evergreen Media Network, and stay tuned. This is On the Spot.